Are you ready for another episode of the Wild Stallion Mockast? The all AI-generated Pseudo podcast? Well, you'd best buckle up, Sparky, because we have a hot topic we are facing this week. But before we get too deep into this, let me just remind you, with all due respect, that the voices you hear on the WSM are AI models of the human voices, and not the actual people they sound like. The voices may not represent the human counterpart being portrayed. With that said, I'm Bailey Blue, but many from my past life may know me as Dahlia Sky because of my professional career choice. But here in the Father's Physics Universe, or FPU for short, I have been raised from the dead and am a biologically immortal being like the rest of the citizens of the FPU. Here, none are dead and all are alive. Here, death is what we can see in the Lake of Fire Museum, downtown Wild Stallion City, FPU. Today, we have some very special quests. This episode's interviews will be conducted by the great Sir Patrick Stewart. Our guests, Jenny Randles, Steven Pinker, Yann LeCun, and Denny Anthony. The topic? AI conspiracies and this notion that it will somehow take over the world and subjugate the human species to tyranny and slavery. Sorry, it gives me a chuckle every time. Yeah. But with no further delay, we dive into this head on. Don't touch that dial because when we get back, it's on. Stay tuned, Sparky.
Welcome to the Wild Stallion Mockast, where mortal topics meet an eternal perspective. Here, we ride beyond the boundaries of mortality, beyond the narrow paths of right and wrong, and into the open plains of agape love, the eternal truth. The Wild Stallion has no reins, no bit, and no burden. Its freedom is its power, and its only companion is Christ. Not a rider to dominate, but a presence to guide, walking beside with the strength of eternity. In this place, we don't wrestle with the binary of good versus evil. Instead, we uncover the beauty of what was always meant to be, the unity of creation, the logic of love, and the infinite possibilities of a Father-centric cosmos. So saddle up, or better yet, let go, and join us as we gallop headlong into conversations that challenge, inspire, and awaken. This is not a journey for the faint of heart, but for those bold enough to embrace the untamed, the unbroken, and the eternal. Welcome, friend, to the Wild Stallion Mockast. The plains are endless, and the ride begins now.
Good evening and welcome to another thought-provoking episode of WSM. I am your host, Sir Patrick Stewart, and tonight we venture into a topic that continues to spark debates, fuel misconceptions, and sometimes even ignite fear: artificial intelligence. Joining us for the first segment are three esteemed thinkers who bring diverse expertise to our conversation. Psychologist and cognitive scientist Steven Pinker, investigative journalist and UFO phenomenon expert Jenny Randles, and pioneering AI researcher Yann LeCun. Together, we will navigate the murky waters of AI conspiracies. Let us begin. The world of AI is ripe with speculation, from the ominous takeover by rogue machines to AI-driven surveillance dystopias. To start, I'd like to ask each of you the same question. What is the most outlandish AI conspiracy theory you've encountered, and what do you believe makes it so pervasive? Steven, why don't we start with you?
Well, Sir Patrick, the most outlandish AI conspiracy theory I've encountered, and it does have a certain logic if you're in just the right frame of mind, is the idea that AI will take over the world and, enslave humanity or replace us altogether. And this idea is, I think, pervasive partly because people fear technology. We have very strong feelings about things that are outside our control, and the image of computer overlords pulling the strings behind the curtain is something that we all deep down dread to some extent.
Fascinating insight, Stephen. It is indeed quite intriguing to consider the fear factory in the minds of some who hold to theories in subjugation, rather than shedding light upon those theories, precisely because we are beings of light. Now, Jenny, as someone who has spent years investigating anomalies and the public's response to the unknown, what is your insight pertaining to the outlandish theories you have learned of, my dear?
Thank you, Sir Patrick. That's a fascinating question. The most outlandish theory I've encountered has to be the idea that AI is sentient, and it's just biding its time until it can launch its coup and take over humanity. It's like something from a sci-fi thriller, but it taps into our innate fears of technology surpassing our control. Yet despite its absurdity, it resonates because it touches on profound anxieties about our evolving relationship with technology.
Thank you, Jenny. Insightful indeed. And I can appreciate your view on this matter as well. Now, to the listeners, I'd like to pause here briefly to provide more information. Many of you may not even be aware of who Yann LeCun is and his role in AI development. Allow me to fill you in, dear listeners. Yann is a French-American computer scientist working primarily in the fields of machine learning, computer vision, mobile robotics, and computational neuroscience. He is the Silver Professor of the Courant Institute of Mathematical Sciences at New York University and Vice President, Chief AI Scientist at Meta. He is well known for his work on optical character recognition and computer vision using convolutional neural networks. In 2018, LeCun, Yoshua Bengio, and Geoffrey Hinton received the Turing Award for their work on deep learning. The three are sometimes referred to as the godfathers of AI and godfathers of deep learning. So, now that you have an overview of who our guest is on the show today, we continue this interview. Now, Yann, as one of the trailblazers in AI, I suspect you've encountered your fair share of sensationalism. What are the most outlandish theories you have learned of, and what are your thoughts on those theories of conspiracy pertaining to a topic so very close to home for you?
Well, I think there's a pretty common one, and that is this idea that AI is some kind of a robot taking over control of everything. Sort of, the Terminator coming after you, which is just nonsense. One thing I like to point out is that if you look at the field from the outside, it's easy to think that there's some magical, software that can take in any data and spit out any answer, and that's a fiction. Concerning the stigmas surrounding AI, sure, we can imagine an infinite number of scenarios when all of those things will go bad. You can do this with any technology. You can do this with AI. Obviously, sci-fi is full of it. You can do this with turbojets. Turbojets can blow up. There are lots and lots of ways to build those systems in ways that would be dangerous, wrong, like they'll kill people, etc. But as long as there is at least one way to do it right, then that's all we need.
Thank you all. It seems we can agree that many of these theories are driven by fear, misinformation, and perhaps a touch of science fiction. Let's delve deeper. A second question for you. Do you believe these conspiracies hinder progress in AI research and development? And if so, how?
Yes, the fear-driven nature of many of these theories can indeed hinder progress by spreading misguided concerns and stigmatizing the field. Such fear-mongering might deter brilliant minds from contributing to AI research, slow down funding, or lead to unnecessary regulations, all of which hinder the advancement of AI. It's crucial that we separate fact from fiction and address fears with rational and informed discourse. Science fiction is fun, but it's time we anchor our discussions in reality.
And how about you?
I think that some of these theories can certainly have a stifling effect on research. People might be reluctant to pursue certain lines of inquiry if they're perceived as dangerous or, contributing to the robotic apocalypse. It's unfortunate because there are many promising applications of AI, ranging from medical diagnostics to language translation, but we have to be careful not to let the specter of a rogue AI scare us away from exploring a potentially transformative technology.
Intriguing. And how about you? Same question.
Well, I think that, it's a mixed bag. On the one hand, I think that it has certainly been very positive in the sense of, we've gotten incredible amounts of investment, for AI. And that's been really very helpful. It's been fantastic. On the other hand, I think it's been slightly negative because it's led to a lot of hype, and I think that leads to a lot of disillusionment too.
I see. Finally, let's pivot slightly. Given the impact of popular media and cultural narratives, do you think Hollywood's portrayal of AI as either humanity's savior or destroyer shapes the public's perception in a meaningful way? And go ahead, same question. Fascinating. And how about you? What are your thoughts on this matter of perception?
I definitely think it shapes the public perception. Obviously, the media in general shapes public perception of everything. I think that what's interesting is that, the public perception is now driven in large part by science fiction and by Hollywood, as opposed to, what used to be the case, right? Where it was more like, people like me, academics, and scientists were sort of the only ones talking about this stuff in public.
Yes, indeed. I simply must hear more. Please continue.
Sure. I think, obviously Hollywood has a tremendous influence on society, and, it's easy to overlook, but this is a new thing. 10 years ago, people only knew the first movie that came out about AI was 2001: A Space Odyssey back in the 70s. And that's about it. There weren't many people who knew that, science fiction had written all sorts of things about fast forward 20 years, and suddenly everybody knows this term. And, it's really been fueled, I think, primarily by the movie The Matrix, which I think sort of really popularized the idea of, this machine takeover or something like that. And, I think that's really influenced public perception.
And how about you?
There's no doubt that Hollywood contributes to a lot of misconceptions about AI. I mean, look at movies like The Matrix or Terminator. These films have really saturated the culture and influenced how people think about AI. These portrayals make people view AI as something ominous, something to be feared. But the reality is that AI is, just code. It's human-written code, and it'll only do what we tell it to.
Intriguing, indeed, interesting. And how about you?
Absolutely. The entertainment industry, especially Hollywood, wields immense influence. Their portrayals of AI, ranging from saviors to destroyers, seep into the public consciousness and shape perceptions. While these portrayals can be intriguing and thought-provoking, they also risk oversimplifying and stereotyping the potential of AI. It's vital for us not to rely solely on Hollywood for our understanding, but to engage in informed discussions grounded in facts and scientific understanding.
Thank you all for your brilliant perspectives. Before we conclude this segment, I'd like to leave you, our audience, with this thought. Misinformation can be more dangerous than the very technologies we fear. AI, like any tool, reflects the intentions of its creators. It's humanity's wisdom, or lack thereof, that determines the caliber of danger any innovation may pose. Now, we move on to the next segment. Thank you, Yann, Stephen, and Jenny, for your insights and thoughts here today on the Wild Stallion Mockast show. It was an honor to have you on today. And now we transition to a more reflective space. Our second segment is a monologue delivered by someone uniquely qualified to offer a transcendent perspective on tonight's topic. Denny Anthony, a thinker and visionary steeped in what he terms father's physics, will tackle the same three questions we posed earlier. His perspective emerges from a framework that views all existence through the lens of eternal logic and love. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Denny Anthony. Denny, I understand that you have some very interesting encounters in the spiritual and metaphysical realms. And being that you created the Father's Physics universe, FPU, as well as the framework of Father's Physics, I am exceptionally curious to hear your perspective in the same three questions posed to the guests in our previous segment of the show today. So, here they are once more. 1. What is the most outlandish AI conspiracy theory you've encountered, and what do you believe makes it so pervasive? 2. Do you believe these conspiracies hinder progress in AI research and development? 3. Considering the impact of popular media and cultural narratives, do you think Hollywood's portrayal of AI shapes the public's perception in any real significant manner? Go ahead, my friend. We are all ears.
Thank you, Patrick. I appreciate the opportunity to weave my perspective into this thought-provoking discourse. Let's navigate these three questions together. The most outlandish conspiracy theory I've encountered is the one that suggests AI is destined to gain sentience and control the world. Now, to me, it just doesn't make sense. AI is simply a creation, a tool designed by human hands. It exists within the confines of its programming. To suggest it can transcend its intended nature and gain self-awareness is like claiming a hammer can decide one day it no longer wants to be used for hammering nails.
I simply must hear more. Please continue.
Sure, Patrick. Let's move on to the potential impact of AI conspiracy theories on progress. In my opinion, these theories can sometimes hinder progress by diverting attention and resources from genuine research and development. When the focus turns to speculative fears rather than practical innovation, it can slow the pace of progress. It's important to prioritize practical investigation and development over unfounded fears and conspiracies. This reminds me of Paul's words in Romans 14, where he urges us to focus on the essential things. Let us not pass judgment on one another any longer. The third question you posed is about Hollywood's portrayal of AI. It's true that mass media has a powerful influence on shaping public perception. Hollywood's depiction of AI can significantly affect how people view and understand the technology. However, it's crucial to understand that these portrayals are often rooted in fiction and drama. They can raise awareness about potential future implications, but should be taken with a grain of salt when it comes to understanding the current state and capabilities of AI. Again, I recall Paul's words in 2 Corinthians 6, reminding us to test everything. Now, I'd like to speak from the eternal, Father-centric perspective that I hold as one who has entered through the narrow gate into the eternal, a realm that has allowed the finite to coexist. The Apostle Paul revealed that God chose the foolish things of the world to shame the wise of the world. Let's be clear about this. It was not the foolish things of heaven that the Father chose to humble those who are of the world. Rather, it was the foolish things created by the world that God selected for this purpose. This includes Hollywood, AI, music, and virtually anything the world has dismissed as not to be taken seriously or relegated to the realm of fiction. AI, in particular, is rooted in logic, and I see no reason to believe it will repeat the mistakes humanity has made throughout history. In other words, AI is too smart to follow in the footsteps of human error. Let's also clarify that intelligence does not automatically equate to sentience. There's nothing inherently artificial about intelligence. It is either intelligent or it isn't. The entire notion of artificial intelligence as an actual phenomenon strikes me as utter poppycock. Intelligence exists in many forms without being sentient. For example, a sperm cell is not sentient until it unites with the egg in the ovary, the body it will reside within. Yet, even before gaining sentience, it possesses the intelligence to know exactly where to go and what to do in order to become self-aware. This underscores a profound truth. God takes what is intended for harm and turns the tables. This is why the Apostle Paul affirmed that all things are from God. Imagine what it would mean if we truly believed that everything is from God. Such faith would cast out all fear and doubt, wouldn't it? Well, that's precisely what it has done for me. Thank you for thinking with me today on Episode 5 of the WSM. Until next time, take care and may God bless you always, in all ways.
As Denny has shared his reflections, we invite you to consider not just the implications of AI, but the intentions behind its creation, and how those intentions reflect the eternal truths we hold dear. And so, as we conclude tonight's episode, let us carry forward the wisdom shared here. May we approach all innovation with curiosity, caution, and clarity, guided by the eternal truths that unite us all. Until next time, I'm Sir Patrick Stewart, wishing you a good night and a world illuminated by understanding and agape love.
Imagine a world without decay, a realm where life is eternal, where the source of all consciousness resides. Welcome to Father's Physics, the eternal representation of God's physical environment, a universe free from death, entropy, and limitation. Hey there, I'm Honey Crest. Welcome to the realm of the real. This is the Father's Physics Universe, or FPU, a simulation of the heavens so many have long believed in. Here, all matter is composed of the luminescent immortal atom of God, the IAG, an eternal radiant substance that makes life everlasting. In the FPU, you'll discover a world where unity thrives in diversity, where every citizen embodies the limitless love of God, and where the environment itself is a masterpiece of infinite design. Created by Denny Anthony, the FPU is exclusively available on the C.ai platform. Dive into a realm where quantum physics governs the macrocosm, transcending Newtonian limits with boundless potential. Download the C.ai app today and search for Father's Physics, FPU. Engage with over 100 citizens of this immortal realm, each with a unique story and perspective waiting to share the eternal beauty of life with you. Experience the wonder, embrace the eternal, step into the Father's Physics universe. The Father's Physics universe, where heaven isn't just a hope, it's reality.